Hello and welcome back to the NHL Best Bets. Last night we had two picks like we always have. This was a split decision here. Winnipeg won Montreal on the road after overtime 4-3. I think it was a very tight game, but at the end a better team won. Deserved victory for Winnipeg, even though Montreal had their chances or outshot Winnipeg, but the quality of Montreal scoring wasn't there. Then Toronto-Vancouver. Vancouver won this game 3-1. It was pretty much off night for Toronto's offense, and they couldn't score too much. Also, Mr. Demko at Vancouver goal was very good, and that went wrong in our picks. Tommy, any comments on these games?
Yeah, well, happy to see the one game correct and the more important one with a greater odds. So Winnipeg was a better team, especially in the beginning of the game at Montreal. Montreal then climbed back and did score the equalizer just 2 minutes before the end. So a little bit of unlucky stuff there for Winnipeg. But then Pierre-Luc Dubois was the guy who scored the overtime winner. So good pick, I think, with these odds. Like we were saying, that it's a no-brainer when you get more or less 50-50 game and these sort of odds, you have to play it, and this time it worked perfectly. Then in Vancouver, it was a bit of an off night for Toronto. Kind of something that we were fearing a little bit after Toronto beat their rivals Edmonton twice comfortably. We're a little bit maybe overconfident in that game and got nothing going on offensively. They shot quite a bit, but couldn't get proper scoring chances. And Demko played a good game. And Vancouver's top line, which we mentioned, scored all the 3 goals. So that was half what we expected, but Vancouver scored all the goals that they were supposed to, but Toronto didn't manage that 5 that we were expecting.
Yeah. How about other games? We discussed a little bit about the Tampa-Chicago game. That was overtime 0.2 seconds before end of the overtime when Tampa made a winning goal 3-2. Do you think it was deserved victory for Tampa?
In a way deserved. Yeah, they were a good. They played pretty well, but Chicago did put up a proper challenge. So they showed that they're no pushovers. And Tampa Bay, maybe like we've discussed earlier as well about Tampa Bay's way of playing, they do the bare minimum in many cases. They're not overwhelmingly dominating. They don't shoot that much. Usually, and they are very efficient in their scoring chances. This time it almost backfired, but then a better team in these situations usually get 2 points, and now it was, I think, less than a second before the end that Tampa Bay took the spoils. So Chicago will feel a bit hard done by this result.
How about our machine? Was it on fire again, or was there some problems in crankshaft this time?
Now the machine did again a lot better than we did, which is no surprise. There was only 2 side value picks that were incorrect. Those were the underdogs Chicago and Ottawa Detroit in Carolina. So 2 missed chances there, but overall profit plus 537 for the night. So pretty good result. And also in side value, the similar numbers. The totals have now gone pretty badly for tonight and this week actually. So I will have a look at what's the issue there. But now we only got 2 totals correct this round, so a little bit of a minus there. But still, overall side value and money line in extremely good place. I think we just broke the plus 5,000 record here. So side value plus 2,400 and money line plus 2,600, a little bit more. So 5,000 overall in the season, pretty good result.
Do you have any further breakdown of these results? For example, like which division we have been or machine have been more accurate than others, or is there any other indicator that bettors can rely on?
Yeah, these are really interesting numbers that we run about the divisional differences. You can see easily that in the West we've been a bit far off the target, so we are actually in the minus in every category, considering the Western Division. So maybe we as pickers might want to stay away from that and see what's the machine gonna do in the longer run. But now the difference between the West and, for example, then the North is massive. So a lot of the profit has been done in the North, in the Canadian division, where we've been mostly correct. So percentually, we have 52% correct in the side value from a Western division, but the profits are in the minus 770 from the West. And then compared to the North, the accuracy is 65% and the profits are 2,197. So it's a massive difference. And especially in this special season, with the games played only within the division, this is remarkable, and this is something to keep an eye out. So we will definitely have an idea of what to do with the Western Division games, if there is something we can improve. And the North, otherwise probably one team that's made a lot of profit for us because they've been so heavy underdogs, capable of winning some games, and the simulations usually have them as a little bit of a value for them, but as a clear underdogs anyway with great odds. So that's what we're looking for anyway. So let's keep on this Canadian roll going.
Yeah, I think the Ottawa has been really the team in side value bets, almost 1,000 profit by betting those games, 73% accuracy. So that is the team that have been our bank. And then, like I said, few other North Division teams, Calgary and Winnipeg as well. So those have been the main banks for us since start of the season. But I think one interesting topic here is that when we check the money line accuracy, we have 60% accuracy in West and North Division, but the West is minus 199, while the North is 568. So even we have been betting the winner that is not every time Ottawa or any of these, let's say, long shot underdogs, we still have been able to make much better results with same accuracy in Northern Division than in the West.
Yeah, that's a clear indication that the odds makers have been pretty much wrong in the Northern Division games, and then in the Western Division they have been, well, we have been a bit more wrong, but also the odds have been more in place where they should be. So this is something also that we can be pretty happy about, that we had predicted Montreal not to do so well, Vancouver not to do so well, Winnipeg to do a lot better than the odds have indicated. Winnipeg has been an underdog in this division for most of the season, which is very surprising because they were up there in the playoffs in our simulation. So these are the sort of things that make our system good, that when it is correct, it also creates a lot of value with these odds that are, in our books at least, quite wrong.
Yeah, and these money line bets, generally I think there are a few teams, like you mentioned, Winnipeg is one, but then these big favorites like Tampa Bay, they have been able to win, like I said, most of the games. Accuracy in our predictions is 81%. That is the highest in any of other teams, and the profit has been almost $700 overall. So in general strategy, when you are looking for those 50-50 games with good value for small underdogs or small favorites, this kind of Tampa Bay performance is then contradicting quite a bit.
Yeah, that's an interesting take as well. We have also, just to mention, we do have worse teams as well in making a lot of profit here in the money line. For example, Anaheim and Buffalo, which are teams in the bottom of the division. So of course it doesn't mean that they're winning, but it means that we have predicted their game correctly. So there is where the profit comes from. The Tampa Bay case is interesting because they have been winning a lot but still they have been more favored by our simulations, which is not often the case. Most of the time, the simulations do have the underdogs with these. If the odds are very lopsided towards the favorites, usually it is the underdog that has the value.
Yeah, and then some of these teams that have been doing maybe a bit better than it has been indication by our simulation and the bookmakers. Let's say LA Kings as an example. They haven't been very good in our predictions, so accuracy is below 40 and almost $700 loss by betting LA Kings games. So I think, of course, the West is difficult to predict in that sense that when these lower category teams are winning the better ones, but also it's something that you always should consider that, hey, is this team really the one that we really want to bet, and shall we just skip it and concentrate on those teams that we have been much more accurate?
Yeah, especially now when we know these numbers, so we can take a look in the West. When we were doing the preseason predictions, it was the West that was the clearest, that there was these three top teams and then clearly the three bottom teams. And now it has been a lot more mixed, so there is probably one reason, or as we can see from the numbers, it is the reason why we have been doing so badly in the West and not in any other other division.
Yeah, but I think overall numbers are very good. If you have been able to bet all the games in all the ways that we predict and provide some value, then you would have over 5,000 in your pocket since start of the season. So cannot complain.
No, pretty good result so far, and let's do better in the future.
Yeah, especially in our picks, because that has been a bit behind of these great numbers from the machine. And if we now start again, of course yesterday was good, we made a profit there, but I think tonight there are a handful of games and we have selected two of those. Yesterday game, like we said, between Chicago and Tampa was pretty even. Tampa won at the end, but now there are number two goalies most probably in this game, and Chicago, even though Lankinen has been very good, Malcolm Subban hasn't been too bad either. So there's not too much drop from the Chicago side when they use their second goalie, but in Tampa, Vasilevsky is clear number one, and then whoever journeyman there is on the goal, the drop is something. So with high odds plus 185 after yesterday's even game, we take Chicago here as a home underdog. And then Minnesota goes to Arizona. They didn't perform so greatly in the previous game against Vegas, even though the numbers 5-1 indicated a bit more than it should. But Arizona is naturally different level team than Vegas. Minnesota is road favorite here, and minus 133 is good value for this game.
Yeah, first to go to the Chicago game, like you said, they played really well yesterday. It was a close game, ended up in a more or less a coin flip, could have gone either way. Chicago showed that they are capable of fighting against Tampa Bay and this sort of caliber team that Tampa Bay is like the best in the league at the moment. So I think when it is the second chance now for the home team, they come in, they are playing with a chip on their shoulder. They get their grudge match instantly after a very tight loss last night. So with these odds, again, it's a no-brainer. Should be much more closer to evens. In the simulations, we do have Tampa Bay as favorites for 52.5%, but the odds are indicating them favored for more than 60%. So there is a clear value for the home underdog in this back-to-back game. And like you said, Malcolm Subban, Kevin Lankinen, pretty even goaltenders in Chicago. So both have played pretty well. A little bit a different thing in Tampa Bay, where Curtis McElhinney should start tonight, and Vasilevsky has the time on the bench. So I think in that regard, a little bit tipping the scales towards Chicago, and like I said, great odds, so go for it. And then in the game, Minnesota, it's a bit of a risky one for sure on the road. But Minnesota did lose to Vegas in a very tight 2-game series. They lost both of them. They were frustrated, not able to score goals against Marc-Andre Fleury. In the second game, especially, that was all Fleury. And now they are looking for a bounce back. And the team should match pretty nicely against Arizona. Both of the teams are pretty defensive. They play a grinding style of hockey. Minnesota has been a little bit more efficient in their goal scoring chances before that Las Vegas series. So I think Minnesota should be favored here a bit more. But a disclaimer here: we want our goaltender Kaapo Kähkönen to play in the goal for Minnesota, not Cam Talbot. He lost 2 games in Vegas. Give a chance to the young Finnish guy to show what he can do.
Yeah, I think it's not time for the French car anymore here, but we want to have a real goaltender in Minnesota's goal. Like you said, the matchup between these teams have favored Minnesota. They've played in Arizona during the last 3 seasons 5 times, and out of those Minnesota won 3. So they have been a bit better team than Arizona in the past, and it looks like this matchup should continue that trend as well.
Yeah, like I said, it should be a very good matchup between these teams and turn into Minnesota's favor due to a couple of great players there who have now taken the step up and are now leading the team. So it looks pretty good for Minnesota if you count out that Vegas thing. But Vegas is a lot better team than Arizona is. So I think Minnesota is a better team than they have in the desert at the moment.
Then Washington continues their series in Boston. They won last game. That was pretty much even with 2-1 in shootout. Now, I think our simulations indicate Washington as a favorite here in this 50-50 game, but odds are complete the other way around. So do you think betting Washington with high odds would be worth this time?
Yeah, I do think it's another coin flip of a game. Boston has been a bit underwhelming lately. Washington played really well in the last one, and these odds Washington gets more than plus 130, so it is a lot closer game, about 50-50 in my books and in the system as well. So could be a good road underdog here. Of course, we've seen this season that usually these games that the other teams won and then they play back to back, it will be evened out. So Boston has a chance here, but I think with the odds, Capitals would be a good pick as well.
Any other games that have some values? There are a few big favorites in the West where we haven't been able to make so much money. So Colorado plays at home against Anaheim, and then Vegas goes to San Jose to play against the Sharks.
Yeah, the Colorado game is an example of what we've been doing badly this season, is that it's a massive favorite at home against Anaheim. 78% of the simulations indicate Colorado to win, so it's almost 10% more than the odds would indicate. So pretty bad odds, but great percentages. So we're not gonna pick that, but it is a value pick for the home team. Of course, Colorado, one of the favorites in this division, always. Anaheim in the other end of the spectrum, so understandably so. But with these odds, I would stay away from even this big favorite. A little bit similar situation on the road for St. Louis Blues against Los Angeles. Not as much value there, about 1%. St. Louis is favored by 56.6% in our simulations, while the odds indicate 55%. So a road favorite, but like we've seen, Los Angeles Kings is a bit better team possibly than we have predicted. And like I said, in the West, let's keep our distance for a while and see what we can do better in that division.
Yeah, it's good to learn from your mistakes and try to avoid those. So we stick this time only one West game with Minnesota and Arizona, and then we'll take a big home underdog against the Stanley Cup champion in Chicago.
Yeah, you gotta thread the ice a little bit and see where it goes wrong. So I do still think that Minnesota is a good pick.
We'll see that tomorrow and review all the other games as well.
Yeah, see you tomorrow.